everyone, welcome to Kirk Questions episode number 11. I've run out of fingers, I can't do it anymore, so I'm gonna have to think of something new to do. I don't know what yet, but I will put my mind to it. This is the show where you guys ask me questions and I friggin' answer them for you. Believe it or not, you can just drop a question wherever you want on my social media with the hashtag Kirk Questions and I will answer that shit for you. So, let's get to the questions. Wish me luck. Here I go.
All right, so the first question comes from Alan Ball on Facebook.
Alan Ball.
And Alan asks, if you could meet any musician, alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one, Alan. That's a real tough one. As my friend here, Tyler, was reading the question, I thought, Howlin' Wolf. But then I thought, Bruce Springsteen. And now I'm thinking, I don't know, between those two. I think it's between those two. You know what? Keith Richards would be pretty cool as well. And so would Bob Dylan, and so would just a million others. But, oh man, I think it's got to be Howlin' Wolf. All-time favorite would, I think, is Howlin' Wolf. And he's no longer with us, so that kind of just makes it even more exciting and, you know, obviously less achievable, so more desired, because we all want what we can't have. So I'm going to go with Howlin' Wolf for that one. If there was one musician, dead or alive, that I would like to meet, it would be Howlin' Wolf, because he was just something else. He was just something else. That's my answer to that one. Thank you so much for your question, Alan.
The second question comes from Ash Pexka.
Ash.
Facebook, and they ask, which song of yours has the best opening guitar riff that you would recommend? I'm thinking maybe in a learning sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best guitar riff that I would recommend, one of my songs. I don't know, I think probably just like either two of the later ones, Save My Soul or Howlin' at the Moon, I reckon would probably be my two picks. Like, in terms of like guitar crafting, like those ones had a lot more work put into them, and like I guess the Howlin' at the Moon riff is pretty recognizable straight from the get-go. The beep 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 beep. So that one I play in drop D, if you're wondering. I play it in drop D, and kind of you're riffing on the G string and the G and the B string, really, that main riff, and then I'm kind of doing keeping the bass notes with my thumb whilst I'm playing that one. So I would say that, or Save My Soul, which is in open G, but I think we put the capo on the first fret, so it's theoretically in open A flat, and yeah, that one's a bit more kind of all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff going on with the guitar in that one. But those two, I reckon, if I was to recommend any of my own guitar riffs for someone to learn, I'd say those two. Those two are, they're definitely my favorites, my personal favorites. So hopefully they're yours too. Thanks for your question, Ash. Legend.
The third question comes from Mitchell Thomas from Facebook.
Facey.
And Mitchell Thomas asks, can you let me know the 5 steps you took that influenced your career?
Oh, great question, Mitchell. That's an epic one. Okay, let's get stuck into this. So the five, what was it? Five
steps.
5 steps that influenced my career. I'd say, I guess the first one is just getting started. That's kind of a no-brainer. So the first step for me was just to get started by, and the way that I did that was I went out and searched for open mic nights all over Melbourne, and eventually got to a point where I'd found an open mic night for each night of the week, and I was literally going out every night of the week and playing my songs. As soon as I had my driver's license, it was like, that was all I did. I'd go out to open mic nights every night of the week and play my songs and meet people at the bars and meet bar owners and just practice and build up build up my confidence with playing in front of an audience, even if it was only, you know, a couple of people here and there at the open mic nights, because they generally weren't sold out crowds. But you know, that just kind of got the ball rolling. So I think the first influence would be just getting started. Number two, I think, is probably number two would be just learning how to book shows for myself. I think was the next step, like going from open mic nights to actually getting a few paid gigs here and there, and then eventually turning that into a full-time job where I actually quit my job at the music store and just started pursuing music full-time, and have been ever since. So it was just learning to build relationships, I'd say. Let's say number two is learning to build relationships, because relationships are really important in any business, you know, because at the end of the day, if you're looking for a lifelong career or a career in music, you're essentially looking for a career in business. As much as some musicians might turn their nose at that, it's a fact. You can't get away from that. If you want to sustain a career as a musician, you got to accept the fact that you are a business. And so, yeah, so building relationships are super important. There's a really great saying that your network is your net worth. So in other words, the people that you know and the people that you surround yourself with are going to influence how successful your business or your career becomes. So it's super important to learn how to build and nurture relationships. In other words, don't go out and be a dick. So many musicians let themselves down by letting their ego get in the way of their relationships. And it's just the industry. I don't think many industries would work anymore with that way. It's about just being a good, decent human being, being kind and fair. So yeah, learn to build your relationships. Your network is your net worth. That's number two. Number three would be, I think, in more recent times, I'm going to say what's been highly influential on my career is learning to manage my own energy levels. In the early days, I used to party like a crazy man when I went out and on tour. I used to party till ridiculous hours of the morning, and then I'd have to get up and I'd have to drive to wherever for 8 hours or something like that, and I couldn't sustain that, you know, so I'd have to pull over and catch up on some sleep, and then by the time the next gig kind of got around the next night, I was still tired and hungover. And in recent years, I've really kind of focused on what's truly important to me. You know, if partying is what's important to you, then by all means go and party. But to me, it's I want a lifelong career in the music industry, and as a musician and a writer and a producer and just a creator in general. So if I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and my energy, because that's what's going to see me through all that time. So for me, it's about, you know, these days when a gig ends and people come up and they say, do you want to come and party at the local bar with us afterwards? It's like, well, you know, I'm sure that would be fun, but no thanks, that's not really for me anymore. I lay pretty low and really focus on what's most important, which is putting on a really great show for people. That's like what I'm most passionate about. So managing your energy levels would be number three. Good diet, good health, lots of exercise, making sure you get plenty of sleep. Man, sleep is so important, especially as a musician when you're working late hours and stuff. So if you can figure out a way to get in as much sleep as possible and rest as possible, that will help you in the long run. Think long term. Maybe that's number four. Think long term. Actually, yes, let's make that number four, because I think so many musicians and just everyone in general these days is under this illusion that things are just going to happen tomorrow. You know, if I start a business or if I start playing music or whatever, I'm just going to be at my pinnacle tomorrow, which is just ridiculous thinking. It's not the way that life works. It's not the way the world works. So think long term. So think, think about what's going to be of most benefit to you long term rather than short term. So there might be some gig that comes to you, and says they're going to pay you squillions for the next year. But it's an awful, awful, awful gig. And by the time you get to the end of that year, you're burnt out. You're no longer passionate about music or playing gigs or whatever. And does that actually serve you in the long term? I've passed down so many gigs that, might have served me well in short-term benefits, such as financial benefits or something like that. But they didn't align with my long-term focus, so I just passed them down, which is totally fine. It's okay to say no to things. So number 4 would be think long-term, and then number 5 would just be have fun, enjoy it. Don't take it all too seriously, because if you're taking it too seriously, that will come across to your audience, I think. Whereas if you're having fun, that will also come across to your audience. And so go out and have fun. It is a really fun lifestyle if you can keep it under control and stay level. You get to travel around the world, and you get to meet all kinds of amazing people, and you get to play music and sit in a studio during the day writing songs. Like, that's amazing. So yeah, have fun, enjoy it. Those would be my 5 things, and I wish you all the best with it. All the best. I hope to see you out there on the circuit.
Question 4 comes from Ian Hartley on Facebook.
Right.
And they ask, would you consider singing a songwriter's song if they gave you one to record?
Totally. And in fact, I have considered it in the past. I've had people reach out and ask me if I would like to play their song or put some music to their lyrics. And I haven't got around to it as yet. I've still got like emails from people that I intend on getting, having a look at some point. I guess like songwriting is one of those things, like it's very much a spirit of the moment kind of thing. Like, yeah, different days, bring different energies and stuff like that. And so I think in terms of like other people's songs, yes, absolutely. And vice versa. Like, I'd love to write songs for other artists. I often write songs that totally don't suit my own voice, or I hear someone else's voice singing that song. So absolutely. I think, the more songs, the better. The more songs, the better. The more options, the better. So if there's any writers out there that want to throw me a tune, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to look at it. And I'm always up for collaborating. Always. So yes, absolutely. Ian, my answer is yes.
Lucky last question. Alrighty. This last question comes from Amy Day on Facebook. And Amy asks, what song, when you hear it, gives you goosebumps?
There's a couple. Actually, what was I listening to just yesterday? I think I was listening to Give Me Shelter by the Rolling Stones, and that part, I'm not sure who the female is that sung on that record. I know she was on that, what was that movie that they made, 6 Feet from Stardom or something like that. Did you ever see that? Really cool. It's all about like the kind of the musicians that, played on all these famous records but weren't really recognized for it. And I was listening to Give Me Shelter, and there's that part where she's screaming blood, rape, murder, it's just a shot away or something like that. And she literally is screaming. You hear her voice like at one point like kind of break, just because she's just given it everything. And I remember listening to that and just going, "Oh, that was good moment." So that's one song that gives me shivers as of yesterday, because I really listened to it intently for probably the first time. There's also trying to think. There's a Tedeschi Trucks band song called Midnight in Harlem, I think, or maybe it's just called Harlem. where Derek Trucks plays one of the most beautiful, amazing guitar solos that you will ever hear, with his amazing tone and slide playing. And there's a point in that solo where he just hits that perfect note at the perfect time that just like, it's just like makes you just, sends you into shiver mode. And then I think the other one that's springing to mind is a similar scenario. There's Collard's Greens and Gravy song. Actually, it's a song that they covered, an old blues trad called St. James Infirmary. And Ian Collard, once again, plays the most amazing harmonica solo that you'll ever hear, most beautiful thing you'll ever hear in your life. And much like the Derek Trucks solo, he just gets to that point where he hits that really high note at the perfect time, and just makes me just it sends me into shivers and makes me envy their playing ability like crazy. But there's millions of them, like lots of Springsteen tracks. I think when you really dig into the lyrics and listen to the lyrical content, is pretty shiver-worthy. Shiver-worthy, that can be a thing from now on. Shiver-worthy. Yeah, and what else is coming? Like Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World or whatever. Like things like that. Like just classic tracks. When you really sit down and become really present with that song and listen to it, and just realize why they're such a classic song and how beautifully produced they are. Yeah, there's so many out there that are shiver-worthy. So there you go. There's a couple on my list, but there's so many. Yeah, if you go out and listen to some songs intently, like listen to them, listen to every single note that's getting played, and there's so much shiver-worthy stuff out. So much shiver-worthy stuff out there. I was about to say so much shiver-worthy enough out there. So yeah, that's that. There you go. Thank you so much for your question. I hope I've listed a couple of songs that you weren't aware of, and you go now and you get the shivers. Thank you so much for watching Kirk Questions episode number 11. Oh my gosh, we are getting so much closer to number 12. It's not even funny. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your questions. If you haven't asked a question already, please do. Ask me whatever you like. I am all ears and open to answering whatever. So drop them in the comments below, and if you haven't already, drop a like on my Facebook or a follow on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and bloody YouTube and all that stuff. And I will see you next episode, number 12. I'm telling you, we're getting close. We're getting close to number 12.